All aboard your tech and games caboose. We have Hollow Knight, the sequel, which is pretty cool. And then we have some Crackdown reviews to go over. And then Tesla is getting a dog and a Sentry mode. So let's jump into Hollow Knight first. Let's pause this music so we get some awesome soundtrack going on. So this was originally a DLC, Hornet DLC, and this is going to be just a straight up full sequel because it's just been growing and growing apparently. So they're doing a lot of stuff. This is a little bit of a platformy action adventure style game, and it's got pretty high reviews and hype by the community. Basically they're adding 150 new enemies, some pretty good action going on. They're doing some stuff they're adding bosses. There's new bosses to fight and stuff. We can check out these. So pretty big bosses, pretty action-packed stuff going on. And then this is the reveal trailer, and they're also going to be adding some friends and stuff to befriend and play with. Basically, these are character friends. And then there's going to be some more towns and stuff, and a bunch of quests to do. And then there is some actual deadly tools and stuff you'll want to get. So some new stuff to play around with, it looks like there. And then there is a bunch of stuff at the end of the trailer. Legends, secrets, and heroes. So you will be playing as Hornet, the princess and protector of everything. So cool stuff from Hollow Knight. And we have a couple other little details from the Steam page. This is a to be announced release date. We don't have a date. We're not sure if it's 2019 or a little bit later. But it's been being worked on for a while as the Hornet DLC. So we could see some good stuff coming pretty soon. So let's check out some of the other little features. We get a little overview, some game features that we kind of mentioned a little bit. There is also a challenge Silksong mode. So you'll be able to, once you beat the game, conquer the kingdom, test your skills in an all-new mode that spins the game into a unique challenge experience. And then obviously a bunch of orchestral score that you can love with all these 2D style games, which is pretty good in Hollow Knight. So there is also there's a 20-minute video you can check out from Team Cherry. They talk a little bit more about the details of the game, some of the story aspects. They also talk about some of the Kickstarter aspects. If you backed it, you'll be able to get some Switch versions and stuff for that. So cool little 20-minute video. You can listen to the devs behind the game. So awesome for that. And next up, we have some reviews for Crackdown 3. Metacritic has a 62 score. Far Cry New Dawn gets 73. And Jump Force gets 64. So these are your three big titles that are coming out today. So pretty crazy. Not too great reviews, but we'll just go over a couple from IGN. So IGN's Crackdown 3 review is just the single player campaign. They skipped the Wrecking Zone PvP mode because they didn't quite have time. It was kind of a little bit early. But basic highlights are, keep in mind, here's one of the big quotes, keep in mind as I tell you about the rest of what Crackdown 3 does, which is almost entirely combat, that the combat isn't good. So basically there's a lot of locking on and triggering, and this reviewer seems to not very much appreciate that. So pretty not good for the combat and review of this. So there is that. And then there's a little bit of a verdict and review at the end, which IGN gives this game a 5, a little lower than the Metacritic scores. So the single player campaign checks all the boxes that made the original an enjoyable game, so it has that going for it, but it looks like it's more of a checklisty style game, and it is a little bit too repetitive, basically, is what they're saying. So not too great for Crackdown. And then quickly we'll go over Jump Force as well, if this loads. So Jump Force is we'll just go over the quick main quote. Some story stuff they didn't really like about this. The biggest problem with Jump Force story mode is how you progressed through it. So with the actual story, one of the big points of this is all your favorite super manga characters interacting with each other. And one of the interactions was Kenshin, the samurai, challenging Zoro, the 3-wielding sword, awesome slayer, duel after talking an issue with his strict teaching methods, and left completely silent and lifeless. So that is one of their main gripes with the game. There isn't any real dialogue and good interaction with each other. And the score IGN gave is a 6.3, pretty similar to the Metacritic score. And if you got a like-minded anime fans who are down to smash some buttons and watch the sparks fly, Jump Force fighting system allows for at least a few hours of shallow fun. So it looks like a little bit more repetition going on here, and you'll get some good fighting with some multiplayer and stuff there, but not too much going on here. And then Far Cry last review is gets a 7.5 from IGN. Pretty similar to the Metacritic score again, and the first quote is, "New Dawn feels like a budget version of Far Cry, which is probably why Ubisoft is asking 40 instead of 60. So one of the main aspects here from this reviewer is basically that it's basically the same map as 17 years later, which is actually a little bit of a cool point that they mention out, because you kind of will stumble into places that you remember that are pretty familiar, and just you can reminisce over the past year of the last game and 17 years in game at least. So that has that going for it and against it, I guess, but it's a less of a price to go for. And then the score is again 7.5, and Ubisoft could have done more to refresh Hope County for Far Cry, but there's still some good chaotic fun. So pretty good, pretty average reviews for those last 3 titles. And then we have some Fortnite stuff. This is the last game. There is the version 7.40 patch, and this adds quite a bunch of stuff to go over. And we'll go over some of it quickly. Everyone who completes 13 free overtime challenges by February 27th will get the Season 8 Battle Pass for free. So they're just giving it away. Apparently there's a lot of competition with Apex out there and the new Tetris 99 Battle Royale. If you're into Tetris, you can fight 99 people, which is pretty crazy. And then gifting is back in starting now until February 22nd. There is the Infantry rifle. This is a pretty intense weapon, if you ask me. And there is a limited time mode rotations. The LTM is catch. And this is basically a bunch of grenades, clingers, remote explosives, porta-fort, and some other impulse and shockwave grenades. So you can blow people back to the lobby, it looks like. Team Rumble is you're getting in 2 big giant teams and fighting each other. And it looks like they're reducing the likelihood of storm ending in the center, so a small change there. And the Infantry rifle does 41 to 45 damage depending on rarity, and it has 2 times headshot damage without damage fall off. So pretty interesting that they're doing that. And then there is improvements to the bush consumable. So this, no one's ever really used this very much, but it was always a cool little thing. So now it will absorb 1 instance of weapon damage. So it'll take the first shot, maybe a headshot sniper will prevent it. And fall damage will not remove the bush anymore. And it's now translucent, so you actually can see through it, and it doesn't obstruct your view, which was one of the really hard things to get over with actually using it for any blending in probabilities, but that's been buffed pretty good. And then hand cannon changes, rocket launcher changes, unvaulted clingers, and the Cupid's crossbow. This is a limited time item, so you'll be able to crossbow people because Valentine's Day. Pretty cool. They vaulted grenades. There's some gameplay changes you can check out. They removed the Stormwing planes going through buildings. That won't happen anymore. Zip lines, you'll get fall damage immunity and some interactive changes. And final circles have been increased the distance by 48%. So the last circle will move a little bit further, and the shrink time has been increased from 45 to 75 seconds. So you get a little bit more time. And then PC, Mac, and console players can now crouch while in edit mode. Turbo building has been reduced from 0.15 to 0.05 speed. So small little changes, some other trap changes and stuff, bug fixes, and a couple of events that are going on. Today, the 14th, until February 24th, you'll get Share the Love series. So some solo and duo tournament stuff. There's 4 different divisions that you can get yourself into. And you can check out the nightly sessions on the event tabs, it looks like, for actual times. And then there is a 1 day on February 17th, a Trios 1 day cup. So you can get hyped for that. Some audio changes. There's some stats version 2, so a pretty big change here. You'll be able to look at all your stats across all platforms, including now mobile and Switch. So it'll also break up limited time mode, so you'll get a better understanding of how you're doing in each specific mode, if you're better by yourself or with teammates or whatnot, or special modes and stuff. So mobile changes, bug fixes. Creative, you can now resize props. So creative mode, there's a lot of interesting things you can do with that, and hopefully that catches on more sandboxy and sparks some big stuff going on for that. So the music sequencer, you can create, combine, and play original tunes. So musicians are going to be pretty hyped for that. Some island changes and some actual modes for the creative mode. You can now collect items to win, so you can set new game parameters basically and do a collection style game. And a bunch more creative stuff is getting changed with some bug fixes. Weapons and items are being added to it. The infantry rifle, just like the battle royale gets as well. And a bunch more creative stuff. They're just going pretty in depth with this and stuff. So Save the World, the last one, gets the Yemen Sniper. So precision is key. Line up to shoot for maximum husk age. And then you're also getting the Fortnite Challenge 7, which is a 30-minute style challenge thing, which will get you some cool stuff for that. So that is your Fortnite stuff, and then a bunch of other changes. And that is your games. We have Ahmad saying hi, and will it be in a week or will it take more? The game Hollow Knight, I believe you're talking about, we're not quite sure yet if it's 2019 or later, unless you're talking about something a little bit different. But let's jump into tech news. And LG is teasing a little bit with the G8 ThinQ, which is coming to Mobile World Congress, we believe. And it is teasing the Crystal Sound OLED. So it's actually going to vibrate the sound, the actual display to emit sound. So that is going to have a couple different things that it will do, but again, using the display as an audio amplifier. So the CSO, as they're calling it, also improves the clarity. So it makes the voices easier to discern and subtle music notes more noticeable. So that's pretty interesting that it's doing some pretty good improvements. And then this is also full-bodied stereo performance. So this is a 2-channel audio setup basically, and it's going to utilize the bottom speaker. There's a bottom speaker on it, and that'll be basically the bass and all the lower sounds. And then it will also, again, vibrate the top part of the display. So that's where your 2-channel audio is coming from, as well as the improved sounds as well. And then other minor audio improvements, DTSX 3D surround. This basically will emulate 7.1 surround sound, so you get audio from all sides through software basically, with or without earphones. And then it's going to have a hi-fi quad DAC. So this is pretty good for audio enthusiasts as well. And we will hear more about this at Mobile World Congress and all the other cool features the G8 ThinQ has. So cool there. And then we get from Tesla, we get introducing dog mode. So your dogs can enjoy your Teslas a little bit more than you can when you're outside. And it will basically put a big screen. You actually can click dog mode in the settings, and it will basically have your display set saying my owner will be back soon. So people passing by, before they break the window, they might be able to see the display and be like, oh, well, they're getting a 70 degrees heated experience, because it looks like it might be cold outside. So your dogs will be pretty happy inside, and you won't have to have a broken window or anything like that. So cool for dog mode. That looks like it's rolling out. And even on Twitter, someone mentioned, I think the font has to be super big or some idiots will break the windows anyway. And Elon has responded, updating. So it looks like we're getting a bigger font too. So pretty cool there. And then also Sentry mode looks like it's rolling out to Model 3s today, and then S and X a little bit later. And basically Sentry mode is going to have a couple different modes, but it's going to use your Tesla cameras on the outside of the car. And in standby mode, it will just basically use the cameras to monitor, and then you'll get an alert if someone leans on the car or it detects possibly motion or something around it. And it will basically say that the cameras are recording on the touch screen. So if someone looks at the screen because the screen turns on or something and they're looking inside the car touching it, they'll get a little notification that they can read that they're being recorded. And then there's an alarm state if someone breaks a window or something else happens, and that will trigger the car alarm. The brightness will be increased on the center display and plays music at max volume, so everyone around you will be knowing what's going on. You also get a notification to your phone, so that's good. And then if you put a USB drive in prior to turning on Sentry mode, you'll be able to see the first 10 minutes that you can download prior to the alarm state. So cool there. And again, that's coming to today, the US Model 3s. That's rolling out today. And then followed by Model S and X that were built after August 2017. So cool updates for Tesla car owners. Pretty cool. And with that, we will have another episode tomorrow at 1 p.m. Pacific with some more tech and game news. And we will be signing out. Pew, 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 pew.